Okay, heads and I address the fact that my eyes are red like in old cameras, and tails I don't. It's gone forever. Hello and welcome to Week in Weird. My name is GiBi, and this week, just like all other weeks, we're going to be going over the news headlines and discussing some important stories that don't really matter, which is the best oxymoron I can think of after myself. We're going to be starting this week's headlines with a story about football.
Whoa! Football!
The Seahawks' Travis Homer celebrates touchdown with Attack on Titan reference. The Seahawks were playing against the 49ers in a friendly game of football, and the first touchdown of the game was by this guy, Travis Homer. He does a flip into the end zone after they try to fake a punt, and then afterwards celebrates using the Attack on Titan Ranger Corps salute. It's been like 6 months since the first part of Season 3 came out. I forget what they're called. Survey Corps, right? An article with the Seattle Times also noted Homer's interest in anime, saying he especially loves Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. You all are gonna think I'm kidding or something, but I like the physicality of anime. You all think this is like kids' cartoons. Nah, this is some real stuff going on here. This is something. The weebs are invading our sports. Guys, I think the nerds won the battle between nerds and jocks. We're now going to be revisiting a story from last week. If you remember, they found thousands upon thousands of dollars hidden behind a toilet in the bathroom of one of Joel Osteen's mega churches. They thought at the time it might have something to do with some money that went missing in 2014, and it was actually discovered by a plumber who was doing work in the bathroom. So it turns out that the plumber who discovered the money got a $20,000 reward. A plumber who discovered stacks of cash and checks inside a wall at celebrity televangelist Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church last month has been awarded $20,000 by Crime Stoppers of Houston. The envelopes were discovered behind a loose toilet by the plumber while he was doing repairs at the Houston church on November 10th, 7 years after the church reported that $600,000 in cash and checks were stolen from a safe. So apparently the police did their investigation and found that this probably was the $600,000 that was stolen. Back in 2014, the Crime Stoppers offered a cash reward of $5,000 to whoever found the money, and the church itself offered another $20,000. They ended up donating all this money to the Crime Stoppers organization because no one came forward with any information. But now it's been 7 years, and they're like, you know what? We should probably give them the money anyway. So $20,000 to the Good Samaritan who turned in the money. The plumber behind the discovery, Justin Cawley, told NBC affiliate KPRC, "This money is going to help tremendously. Bills are stacking up," he said. "I'm trying to make the best of it, and today, the light shined through." I'm really happy for this guy. It's really gonna make his Christmas. Speaking of lots of money, US billionaire surrenders $70 million of stolen heart. Look at this man. Look how cheery this man is. He's not gonna be cheery for long. Michael Steinhardt displayed rapacious appetite for plundered artifacts, says district attorney. An American hedge fund billionaire has surrendered 180 looted and illegally smuggled antiquities valued at $70 million and has been handed an unprecedented lifetime ban on acquiring other relics as part of an agreement with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. So this man's isn't going to jail. You just can't buy expensive old things. Alright, so there's this guy. His name is Professor Christos Syrogiannis. Christos Syrogiannis. Over 15 years, Professor Christos Syrogiannis, a leading archaeologist, has identified more than 1,550 looted artifacts within auction houses, commercial galleries, private collections, and museums. He told The Guardian, "Many of the dozens of antiques that I identified in the Steinhardt collection, using the photographic archives confiscated from dealers and traffickers, appeared first in the most reputable top dealers and auction houses in the world." Basically, this guy goes to auctions and figures out that there's stolen and looted artifacts from like grave robbers and stuff that are being sold on the market, and he discovered that this guy, Steinhardt, was buying and selling these illegal artifacts. I first alerted the district attorney's office in New York on the Steinhardt case in November 2014, when I identified an extremely rare, prehistoric Sardonian idol, valued at $800,000 to $1.2 million. I found an image of the same idol, broken in pieces, in the archive confiscated from the notorious and convicted antiquities dealer Giacomo Medici. You're telling me that it's possible to go down in history as a notorious antiquities dealer and have a cool name like that? And instead I decided to become a YouTuber? The idol ended up being withdrawn and repatriated to Italy, but it was clear that this guy Steinhardt was doing some deals with some shady figures. The DA's office said its inquiry found compelling evidence that the antiques were stolen from 11 countries, and that at least 171 passed through traffickers before being bought by Steinhardt. His pursuit of new additions to showcase and sell knew no geographic or moral boundaries, as reflected in the sprawling underworld of antiques traffickers, crime bosses, money launderers, and tomb raiders he relied upon to expand his collection. This guy's like a real-world comic supervillain. This is quite the story. This is one of the pieces that got taken away from him. Under the terms of the agreement, Steinhardt has surrendered the Stag's Head Rhyton, a spectacular ceremonial vessel in the form of a stag's head, which dates to 400 BC and appeared without provenance on the market following looting in Milas, Turkey. It is valued at $3.5 million. So there was looting in Turkey, this was theoretically there and taken by the looters, and then it appears in this guy's collection. How can you be so obvious? How can you be so brazen with $70 million worth of art? So this guy would be my hero this week, except for we have an even greater hero to talk about. Finland's Prime Minister sorry for clubbing after COVID contact. Okay, so the Prime Minister of Finland is the youngest Prime Minister who has ever been elected in the history of the planet, and she apparently decided to go clubbing one night, and she left her phone in the office, so she did not get a notification that she should be quarantining because somebody that she was in contact with had COVID. Prime Minister Sanna Marin, I'm so sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, Sanna Marin went on a night out in Helsinki on Saturday, hours after her foreign minister had tested positive. She was initially told she did not need to isolate because she'd been fully vaccinated, but later missed a text that advised her to do so. The Social Democratic Prime Minister, 36, said the text message that advised her to avoid social contact was sent to her work phone, which she had left at home. At first, Miss Marin defended her actions, arguing that she had followed the advice of her Secretary of State, who informed her about the COVID exposure. But in a Facebook post on Monday, why are all of these prime ministers making official posts on Facebook? Why is Facebook the official platform for foreign prime ministers? I will never understand you people. Obviously, Twitter is where the president should be making official announcements. I am very sorry for not understanding that I needed to do that, she wrote. So it's not actually that interesting of a story, but just the premise, the fact that you have the world's youngest elected prime minister, that she goes out clubbing and defies COVID lockdowns, is just creating this swell of memes online. I just love it when you have things that should be serious, like government and laws, that are just completely memeified. Like that's where I draw my life force from. Memes and flavored seltzer water. And the final story is that we have an update on the Yavala Goat. In case you don't know the full story, you really should watch my videos on this topic, but there's two giant, enormous straw goats that are erected in Gavle, Sweden every year. There's the big main one that's made by, like, the town, and then a slightly smaller one that's made by a local college, and they're, like, erected in the town square, and they usually burn down. There's only been 18 years in their 50-ish long year history that they have not burned down. And apparently, there was an attack on the smaller goat last night. The official goat Twitter account tweeted out, "Oh little brother, heart, my heart feels heavy when I see that someone has attacked you. Leave us goats alone," and then it's an angry red face. And you can see that there's been some damage, but not a lot. It didn't burn up too quickly, which makes me think that they probably didn't actually set it on fire. These things have been, like, hacked and kicked to pieces and also hit by cars, so it's not always fire, but it seems very possible that this was a coordinated attack, but we do not have any official evidence or any official arrests that have been made. Despite the fact that this story is hilarious, keep in mind it is in fact illegal to hurt these goats. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this video quality has been better, because I think I figured out my green screen. I'm recording at 60 FPS now. I got one of those YouTube lights so that it lights my face different, but I think it's also giving me red eye, which is not great. So it's like I solved my 21st century problem of fixing my green screen, but now I have a problem from like the 1980s, which is red eye. You can follow me on Twitter at GiBi_Devin, and I'll be back next week.